Hey, it's so good to see you. My name is Lordrick and welcome to Stanford University. Today, I'm going to be giving you a campus tour, but this isn't going to be your typical campus tour. I'm going to show you what the school is really like as a student. From my secret hideout spots where I go cry after my exams to how I'm building my credit with the Fizz card at the shops around campus. But more on that later. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's get going.
Turn from the afterglow. Will you carry me like I am whole again?
All right, so you've just come down through Palm Drive, which is the main road that connects Stanford's campus to Palo Alto and the rest of the outside world. It's also the road that a lot of families come down when they come to campus for the first time to move their students in. It's a really scenic road that gives you a great view of campus coming in, and it's also decorated on either side with rows of palm trees, hence the name Palm Drive. And right now we're walking through the Oval, which is a really big green space at the front of campus in the shape of an oval. And when the weather gets really nice, there are tons of students who come out here to go on picnics or play sports and just hang out. And in the middle of the oval, we have a really iconic flower garden that spells out the letter S with flowers. Right now we're here on Jane Stanford Way, which is a major road that cuts all the way through campus. It connects a lot of the student dorms on East Campus to basically all the other buildings on campus, including Main Quad and the Engineering Quad. So for students who live on East Campus, this road gives them a straight shot to all their classes for the day. So there's always a lot of traffic on this road, whether it be people walking, on bikes, scooters, skateboards, and whatever else. All right, and right behind me is Main Quad, which I would say is probably the main attraction that Stanford has to offer. It's what all the tourists come here to take pictures of. And Main Quad is actually a complex that houses all of the main arts and science buildings on campus. So it's a rectangle that has a bunch of different academic buildings here. Right now we're walking through the arcades of Main Quad, which go all the way around its perimeter. And these arcades in particular are really well known around campus because these is where a lot of students come to take their LinkedIn profile pictures. Now, one thing that is really well known about Stanford is that it has a really unique architectural style. All the buildings on campus, including the ones in Main Quad, are heavily inspired by Spanish architecture, but the specific style of architecture here is called Richardsonian Romanesque. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Main Quad is where you'll find a lot of the different academic buildings for departments in the arts and sciences on campus. One of those being the psych department. Stanford's psych department is pretty well known for a little experiment they ran in the 70s called the Stanford Prison Experiment. So in the basement of one of the buildings here in Main Quad is where they had the actual Stanford Prison Experiment. Isn't that neat? And right now we're here in the middle of Main Quad in this open courtyard, and all around us are the different academic buildings in departments like physics, math, history, languages, human biology. I'd say this is probably where I spend 90% of my time throughout the day because all the classes I have are here in Main Quad. And if you look over there, that spot right there is where I like to go and cry after all of my exams because I also have all of my midterms and finals here in Main Quad. And right behind me here is Memorial Church, which is one of Stanford's most iconic landmarks. It has a really beautiful mural here at the top, and this is where a lot of tourists come to take their pictures. It's also where I took a lot of my pictures when I first came to campus. As you might be able to tell, it's really hot today and I'm getting kind of thirsty. So let me take you to one of my favorite spots on campus. Let's go.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost.
You know, I really love coming to Coupa Cafe because they have really great drinks and because I can use my Fizz card here. The Fizz card is a debit card that helps you build credit. You get a daily spending limit based on how much you have in your bank account, and your bill is paid off automatically every day. You can also earn 3 times points on a category of your choice, and since I chose restaurants here, I just got 3 times points on my purchase here. With the Fizz card, you can build your credit while getting cash back on everyday spending and things that you're already spending money on. Fizz is the #1 money app for college students. It helps students manage their money, build their credit, access financial literacy courses, and just prepare for a better financial future. So I definitely recommend giving the Fizz card a try.
Honestly don't. I should be the last to know we're all in this.
And now we're here at Meer Green, which is another one of the green spaces here on campus. And again, when the weather is nice, you'll see a lot of students out here sunbathing, doing work, playing sports with their friends. And over here in the middle, we have a space where we have a lot of concert events. So oftentimes you'll see a lot of people playing music out over here. And then if you look out in the distance, you'll actually see Hoover Tower, which is another one of Stanford's most notable landmarks. It's the tallest building we have here on campus, and it's really recognizable. You can see it from a really far distance. And when you see Hoover Tower, you'll know that you're here at Stanford.
I mistook you for a dream.
And just past main quad is the engineering quad. And as you might be able to tell from the name, this is where Stanford has all of its engineering departments. So if you're an engineering student at Stanford, this is where you're going to be taking a majority of your classes. Me personally, I haven't taken too many classes here just yet, but in the coming years, I'm going to be taking a lot of my computer science classes here in the engineering quad. The engineering quad is also where a lot of technological innovation happens. So you have companies like Google, DoorDash, NVIDIA, who have all gotten their start here in the engineering quad. And as you might be able to tell, the buildings here look a lot different from all of the other buildings on campus. And this is because the engineering department is actually a bit newer than the rest of campus. And as you might be able to tell, there's a lot going on here in the engineering quad, and that's because this week Stanford is actually celebrating 100 years of engineering here at Stanford, which I think is pretty neat. One thing that Stanford is definitely well known for is its engineering, and in particular, its computer science department. And I think that's no surprise given that Stanford is right in the middle of Silicon Valley. And recently, Stanford finished building its new computing and data science building, also known as CODA, and it feels like the entire student population is in that building in the afternoons. And that might just be because basically every other student here at Stanford is engineering, and probably computer science. And not too far from the engineering quad, right behind me here is Lake Lagonita. Now, the name might sound a little confusing given that there isn't much of a lake to look at right now, and it's actually pretty green as far as the eye can see, but legend has it that once upon a time, this area behind me was completely filled with water. Hence the name Lake Lagonita. Now during the rainy season, when we get a lot of rain, this area behind me actually does fill up with water, and for a brief moment in time, it does return to its former glory as Lake Lagonita. And at that time, you'll see a lot of people here on kayaks, swimming, and just having a great time. And coming out of Lake Lag, we're here at Treser, which is the main student union on campus. Here is where you'll find a lot of restaurants. So you've got your Starbucks, your Subway, your Panda Express, your Wetzel's Pretzels. So a lot of students will come here for lunch or dinner. And out here in the middle, we have the Arbor, which is where we host a lot of different events. So we might have trivia night or stand-up comedy, lots of different things going on here. And just past Treser, we're here now in White Plaza, which is where a lot of student activity goes on during the day. Right behind me, we have the Stanford bookstore. This is where students all come to get their Stanford merch when they first get to campus. Over here, we have a lot of green space. This is where we have the activities fair, admit weekend. So we tend to have a lot of tabling events going on over here. And over here, we have one of Stanford's fountains. Stanford has a really interesting tradition called fountain hopping, which is where students will actually dress in their swimwear and play around in the fountains. Stanford has several fountains all throughout campus, all of which students will fountain hop in when the weather is right. So maybe we might be able to see some students fountain hopping when we check out some other fountains on campus. And behind the fountain, we have Old Union, where we have a lot of the different cultural centers on campus. And just past Meer Green, we have Green Library, which I'm 99% sure is the biggest library on campus. It's where a lot of students spend a lot of time studying. So you already know I'm always here, open to close, here studying in this building. And then right next to Green Library, we have, again, another fountain. So when it gets really hot, especially in the summer, you'll always see people here fountain hopping. In fact, let's get a little closer. What if I jumped in here? No, I need to go to class later.
Turn from my skin and bone. I'm remembering the words you told me. Wait, hold on. Put me together. Take me back where I belong. I want it all.
So throughout my day, I end up traveling back and forth all throughout campus, and I end up passing all sorts of different buildings along the way. all the different dorms and dining halls, the law school, the medical school, and this behind me is my dorm. This is called Escondido Village Graduate Residences, but everyone just calls it EVGR. This is the dorm where I've been living for the past 3 years, and I can say this is 100% the best undergraduate dorm on campus. Not all dorms are created equal, but I'm fortunate enough to say that I have been living on the best dorm on campus. Now, I'd love to take you guys inside for a tour of my dorm room, but I'm sure you're already really tired from walking all around campus today, so I'll save it for another time. So be sure to tune in next time to find out what my dorm room looks like. And if you're about to head into college, whether at Stanford or anywhere else, you're gonna wanna start building up your credit. And there's no better way to do it than with the Fizz card. All right, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more great content. Bye!